All right, let's move on to the pandemic, actually, and get back to being serious.
We're not going to play Gottlieb, are we?
Yes, we are.
I canceled everything.
Yes, we are.
After listening to Gottlieb.
Because a new Israeli study does show that a booster shot from the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine provided strong protection against severe illness from that Omicron variant. But on the other side of this, the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson accelerated his country's booster rollout. He also announced the first death in the country from the new variant. The UK Health Secretary says the variant is spreading at a phenomenal rate. And the aforementioned Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who we go to often here because he has been often right, he weighed in on the situation in the UK earlier on Squawk Box.
It's deeply concerning to see the British take this stance because they have very good data, they have very good systems in place. And so if they're seeing a very significant threat from Omicron, I think the world should really take notice of that.
Yeah, that was really, I thought it was a major wake-up call. I always listen to him, stop every listen. And he's basically saying, remember, if you go away, there could be a quarantine. We may not be able to let you back in.
Right.
Boris Johnson, the UK data is always very strong. They test constantly there because the testing's free. And I think a lot of people who listen to him will cancel going away.
You do. It could have an impact, yeah.
That was just devastating.
We already canceled going
I don't know
but because of the hassle of it all.
Right.
What about milder symptoms, which we continue to hear anecdotally, but everybody says you got to wait?
Until you get the viral. I think people just feel like milder symptoms. Who knows how bad that is?
I thought that seemed that bad. If you've got 3 shots in you, it's not going to be that bad.
I thought that was going to be it, but now it's like, David, the clarion call of Dr. Gottlieb was, don't go anywhere. Don't
anywhere?
Go anywhere. Why? Well, maybe in the United States. Go to Disney because the investment club owns Disney. You haven't hit me on that.
Meanwhile, Pfizer's using some of the vaccine money to buy things.
Do something.
Yeah, obviously generating a good amount of cash from all those vaccine sales. What, $40 billion? Now they split it with BioNTech, but still at a 50% margin. What, $10 billion or more in cash?
CAR-T, ulcerative,
they buy Arena Pharmaceuticals.
Very crowded.
If you owned it on Friday, it's a double. You'll take that.
Like that.
You'll take it, 100%
well, a lot
premium.
of people like Arena because CAR-T is very good. It's personalized medicine.
It is, and they, as you point out, ulcerative colitis is their main focus. But it's generally on immunoinflammatory diseases. Now they don't have phase 3 data here.
I know they're so early.
I love that it's $100 a share. I don't know why. It's just like we won't take $99.99. It's got to be $100.
Oh really? Dollar Tree?
No.
Dollar Tree Plus?
Yeah, exactly. Now it's $1.25. But, Jim, it does take you back to, all right, Pfizer can use some of this
Well, Pfizer had a big patent cliff. This is a huge win for Pfizer.
And they have a big patent cliff coming. They can use some of the cash that's being generated by their vaccine revenue to put them in a position to deal with some of the patent expirations.
So then Pfizer does get up. It gets re-rated because they do have all this cash. And by the way,
instead of returning it to shareholders with a buyback.
Like Bristol Myers, which doesn't have anything of new real growth, and myocardium is still waiting. David, I think Pfizer's got another 3 or 4 companies that could buy.
Well, and that, it's funny. We get like one of these a month, but there are some who argue we should be getting more than that because it's not just Pfizer that's dealing with patent expirations. Come 2028, you got Revlimid, you got Eliquis, you got Keytruda, Merck's key drug. There's a lot of important drugs that generate tens of billions in total revenues that conceivably are going to be off patent or come off patent in 28. And so you want to get started now because 6 years from now is when they conceivably, many of these drugs, if you get it at the right price,
well, I went over
and if
the
they succeed, are going to be
companies. You should go over the 391 companies that come public there. Half of them, of course, have just been a disaster, but probably a third of these companies are biotech.
Yeah.
And they're orphans now. Not orphan drug, but they're orphans. Nobody wants them. The Chinese stocks and the biotech stocks.
They are until a Pfizer or a Merck comes along and pays 100% premium.
Right. And then you think, wow, what a lottery ticket, huh?
There you got to know what you're doing.
But let's pull back for a second. The overwhelming notion of the research today is that you don't need to think about the Fed at all. It's going to be a great year. And I just think when I read that, I wanted a little bit more circumspect. That would help because the numbers of stocks that you can really get behind do diminish